everybody, Matthew Movies coming at you again, and this time I'm going to be talking about a subject, a person, if you will, by the name of Michael Moore. He's a documentary filmmaker. He's probably the most famous documentary filmmaker of all time. If you're watching my channel, you most likely have heard of him. If you haven't, you're, in my opinion, kind of lucky. Kind of not, a little bit iffy on that. Basically, I am not a fan of this guy at all. I think he is a terrible, terrible documentary filmmaker. I think he's a very good filmmaker. His biggest positive, in my view, is the fact that the guy can spin a yarn like nobody's business. I mean, his movies are very well put together. They're very convincing. They are like the actual filmmaking process themselves is beautiful. The shots are beautiful. Well, maybe not all the shots, but the shots are very effective for the story that he's telling. The cameras are great. The whole, like, from a technical point of view, he does a phenomenal job. However, I can't stand his movies. And the funny thing is for the most part, I agree with most of the basic underlining points of his films. Like, I do agree that, like, the guns are kind of out of control in the United States. I mean, I'm not necessarily for getting rid of all guns, but some of the stuff that they sell over there, I don't see the point of, like the armor-piercing rounds and that kind of thing. I mean, I'm not from there, so I don't know how readily available that stuff actually is, or how much that's just portrayed in the media, but anyways, I agree with that. I was not a fan of George W. Bush as president. I feel like their healthcare system is broken. There's all kinds of stuff that he's... I don't agree with the taking all the production out of the States and out of Canada. I mean, I understand from a business point of view why it makes sense if they can make something much cheaper somewhere else, but it also cripples the countries. So I mean, basically, a lot of the topics he's been not spoken about, but he made documentaries about. I agree with his point of view on. The problem is that the way he makes his films, to me, there's far too many lies in them. Like he makes up facts. It's been proven that, like, a lot of time if you watch his movies, when they flash like a newspaper article or something like that, that the headline is completely false. That the image that you're seeing is fabricated by him and his production crew. Like, the first movie that made him a star was Roger and Me, and the whole movie was about the head of Ford taking their truck plant, or the car plant, or I think it was Ford. Anyways, a car company taking their plant out of America, out of Detroit specifically, and how he was going to try to get an interview with this guy, and it was him grandstanding and all that, and that at the end of the movie, it was though the CEO dodged him over and over again. He could never get an interview with him. But it's actually been proven that during the filmmaking process, he actually got 3 separate interviews with him. He just lied and deceived and made it look like it was something completely different in order to prove his fact. And I just don't understand. Like, it's not an argument that's really all that hard to make, that it's bad for Detroit or bad for the country when these production facilities go to another country. And you know, like, he takes these unfair shots to try to prove points that he really doesn't need to. Like, you could go and you can talk to there's lots of people you can talk to who give you very concise and very interesting reasons why to back up the claims he's making. He feels the need to just make up things whole cloth, and I don't get it. It bothers the hell out of me. The other thing that drives me nuts about his movies is that I hate the fact that he grandstands so much. Like, his films aren't like his last film. It wasn't about him going to, like, it's about how all these other countries had these better ideas than America. The film was about how he was going over to these other countries to steal their ideas for America. I mean, it was the whole thing was goofy. Yeah, there was some mildly interesting pieces, but the problem is because of his past, like, I can't take anything he says seriously. So even though when I was watching them, I was like, oh, that sounds pretty good, I didn't believe any of the things that were being said, even if they weren't being said by him, because he's just so prone to deceive the audience. Like, a great example is in his movie Sicko, when people were shown in Canada being able to walk into a hospital on a regular day and be able to basically walk right in and see a doctor, and how everything was idyllic. And I live in Canada. I know that's not the case. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd much rather have our healthcare system than the American one, where you're having a baby and you're going into hock for it, or you have to have a surgery and you're going to be in debt for the rest of your life. I mean, that's horrible, right? So it's such an easy argument to make, but yet he feels the need to just make up like have these situations that anybody who's Canadian will be able to tell you that's not the case. Like, in order to get people being able to go right in, like he has to have been like sitting in these hospitals for days on end waiting for the perfect situation to get this interview, because I've never experienced it, and I don't know anybody else who's ever experienced it. And in that movie he talks about how Cuba has a great healthcare system, and like just on the face of it, that just seems wrong outright. And then after the movie was over, I did some research, and it showed that the Cuban healthcare system was in crisis mode, and that there was literally a story that I saw that somebody died because a hospital had a gigantic hole in one of their floors, and a patient was walking and fell in the hole and fell down to the next floor and died because of it. And people weren't able to get medicine because they didn't have the bottles to put the pills in. Like, it was a terrible system. But yet, if you watch that movie, you think Cuba, what a beautiful place to go get your health care. And there's two different types of hospitals in Cuba. There's ones for the rich, ones for the poor. And it was proven, because there's evidence of it, that he called ahead, told them that he was coming, and he went to like a rich hospital, and the Cuban government sent their best doctors and their best facilities and not best facilities because you can't send a facility, but best machines and the whole nine, so that when he went, it made it look like everything was great over there. But just on the face of it, does that sound to you like that would be the case? Because it sure as hell doesn't to me. I can't stand his films just because he could make these movies, and he could make the same argument, and he could do it in an honest and forthright manner, but instead he has to just try I guess because he thinks it makes it more compelling and makes him look more grandiose, he has to fabricate things left and right. And like I said, I hate I know that there are lots of documentaries where the filmmakers play a part in it, but they're not necessarily like every single scene is about them and how they're gonna go and solve this issue. Werner Her. Wow, I can't think of his name, but hopefully you know who I'm talking about. There's a documentary filmmaker the guy who made Grizzly Man. Like, he's all over that movie, but it's not like he's gonna go over there and fix this grizzly problem or show the world how this grizzly problem is all he's in it because it's a framing device, not because the movie's about him and how great he is and all this, that, and the other. And I can't stand Michael Moore movies. And don't get me wrong, if you're a fan of Michael Moore's, all the power to you. I mean, everybody can like whatever they want to like, right? And if it's making you even interested in these subjects, maybe there's some work there for you. But for me, I just can't stand the guy. So please let me know in the comments below what you think. Please subscribe to my channel. I always love getting new subscribers. And please. I don't really have anything else to say, but I just noticed I said please a couple times. So I figure I'd keep the please train coming. All right. Have a nice day.